geographic realm in the Earth. Right? So, map of that. These things you already know when you study history and science. Right. So now we will move into the biomes. This is a major part we are going to discuss in the terrestrial ecosystem. So what do you mean by biomes? What do you think about biomes? You already have some other knowledge on biomes. So tell me, what is biomes? What do you know about biomes? Why you are keeping silence? Any ideas on biomes? Okay.
Biotic and abiotic communication.
Biotic and about ecosystem. Okay. Any other things? How we can say the special characteristics of biomes?
It is a habitat.
It is the habitat, yes. So it's categorized by the kinds of plants and animals present there, right? So, and we can say, so how we are defining, how we are categorizing biomes, so we will discuss further. In each biome, the kind of climax vegetation. So remember this keyword, the climax vegetation, we will discuss in another chapter, right? So here the kind of climax vegetation is uniform, maybe grasses, conifers, residues, and any other plants. When you observe the particular biome climax vegetation, it's uniform, right? No any that mixing or no anything. So it's the kind of climax vegetation you can find in each and every biome. So here, maybe we can say the particular species of plants or particular species of animals may vary in different parts of the biomes. Right? But we can say unity or uniformity of particular biomes as a characteristic. Right, so these are the major biomes we can categorize: tundra, taiga, so moist temperate coniferous forest biomes or temperate deciduous forest biomes, grassland biome, savanna, desert biome, tropical rainforest, chaparral biome. So we are going to discuss each and every one further. Right, so this is the overview map of this location of these biomes. Right. Okay. Now tell me, think about biomes and climate. Right, and just we will look on back about the aquatic ecosystem. How we define the aquatic ecosystem? How we categorize the aquatic ecosystem? What are the factors there we have talked about? What are the factors we have talked about when we categorizing the aquatic ecosystem subdivisions? We freshwater ecosystem, when we talk about marine water ecosystem. Under the freshwater ecosystem, we have subdivision. Under the marine ecosystem, we have subdivision. What are the factors we have talked there?
Abiotic factors.
Yes, abiotic factors. Under the abiotic factors, what we have discussed? How we differentiate freshwater ecosystem, marine water ecosystem?
Based on the salt concentration.
Based on the salt content. Then under the freshwater ecosystem, we divide into lentic and lotic. How we divide that one? How we divide lentic and lotic?
Standing water and moving.
Yeah, standing water and moving, according to the movement of water. Right? And under the lentic, we divide into subdivisions. right? How we divide into lentic as a subdivision, profundal, that zones we divide. What are the factors influence on that? Depth. Yeah. So likewise, here we are going to connect with the biomes and climate in the form of climates. So the climate is the abiotic factor. So climate, we can say, what is climate? Can you define the climate? Climate is the average weather condition in an area over a long period of time. So we can't define in a shorter period of time. So climate is defined to, it's the average weather condition in an area over a long period. Right? So here you can see how the climate is influenced in the characterization of biomes, right? So think about the climate, and we can say whether the plant growth or growth parameters determined by climate or not. It is depend on climate or not.
Depend on climate.
Yeah, here in this image, right? We can see in the bottom. See here in the bottom, some of the plants you can observe. In here, some of the grasses you can observe. See in here, some of the conifers you can observe. See here, there is no any trees. In the Arctic area, there is no any trees. So this is explained as, so when the temperature is increasing or temperature increasing mean this area, right? High temperature area. And temperature decreasing mean low temperature area. So hot climate and cold climate, right? So the temperature and some other factors. Can you imagine what is other factor?
Rainfall.
Yes, good. Rainfall. So here the climate, we can say temperature. TO mean temperature and precipitation, right? We can say precipitation. So these two major climatic factors are influenced in the categorization or defining of biomes, right? So the higher the temperature and the precipitation, those influence in the taller and dense vegetation. See here, when temperature is high, see temperature is high and see this wet and dry, right? So this condition is the, like x-axis is like precipitation. This is talking about the temperature. So here, when the temperature and precipitation is high, the plants tend to be taller and dense. Can you observe here? Can you observe here? Plants are taller and become dense. When the temperature decrease and it's become cold and dry. See, cold and dry. What will happen? The plant density also will less, and the plant height or plant, the taller plants will be reduced according to the climate. This is the basic things related with climate and biomes. Understood? How the climate is defined, the biomes characteristics. Anybody, any doubts? You can see here this tropical rainforest, how the savanna is characterized. See, this is desert area and temperate grassland, and this is taiga and tundra, right? So we will see one by one of these biomes, right? And another factor, we can say that biomes climate with latitude and longitude. So far we have discussed about the climate. Under the climate we talked about temperature and precipitation. Now another factor is the latitude and altitude, right? So latitude is the distance north or south from the equator, right? And altitude is the height of an object above a reference point. We can say, normally we are saying such as sea level or earth surface. Normally when we measure the altitude, we are seeing from the sea level, right? See here that climate, we can say, what's the relationship between climate and latitude, altitude? That means climate is varies with the latitude and altitude. Understood? According to the latitude and altitude, this climate of these particular biomes will vary. Right? Understood? So these are the main things we are focusing for when we categorizing the biomes. Any doubts? Please, you can ask, you can unmute and you can ask. Right, we can say latitude and altitude when it changes. For example, if it is increase or decrease, the biomes and the vegetation of biomes will change. That's the basic things related with biomes, climate, and latitude and altitude. Right. So first we will move into tropical rainfall. So just imagine we are going for a world trip now, right? With your seat from your home, we are going for a world trip. Imagine and please learn with the imaginations, right? So first one we are going to discuss the tropical rainforest. So tropical rainforests are the forests or jungles near the equator. So they are characterized by a large amount of rain and little variation in temperature. So see here, large amount of rain is there. So and a little variation in the temperature. So because of that, this climate condition, it contains greatest known diversity of biomes, the known diversity of organisms on Earth. Right? So why it's having greatest known diversity of organism on Earth mean? Because of its climate factor, rain and little variation in temperature. Right, so you can see here the location. So between the tropic of Cancer and tropic of Capricorn. So we already discussed that little variation in temperature. So the temperature of the tropical rainforest is 20 degrees Celsius to 25 degrees Celsius. So it's there is a little variation in the temperature. And see the large amount of rain you can observe. See here, 2,000 to 10,000 millimeters of rain per year. This is because of this, the greatest biodiversity you can observe in the tropical rainforest. Right? So here, because of these climatic factors, so they can help regulate world climate and it play a vital role in nitrogen, oxygen, carbon cycle. See, because of this, the nutrient cycling is facilitated in tropical rainforest. So they are humid, warm, and get strong sunlight, which allows them to maintain a fairly constant temperature that is ideal for wide varieties of plants and animals. Right. So because of this, tropical rainforest characteristics are defined. Right. So you can observe here. See how the diversity you can observe in this image. Can you see this image? See, the diversity of organism is high in particular area of tropical rainforest. Right? So here, when we talk about the flora and fauna, you can see in the flora, vine, palm trees, orchid, ferns, and as a fauna, many species of animal life can be found in the rainforest. So common characteristics we can find among the mammals and birds, so include the adaptation to life in the trees. So you know how the mammals and birds are adapted to live in the trees, right? So such as the prehensile tails of a new world mammals. Right? And other characteristics are, we can see bright colors and sharp patterns, loud vocalizations, and diets heavy on fruits. So normally the animals fauna which is found in the particular area of tropical rainforest, it look like bright in colors, and it has sharp patterns and vocalization. It has a high vocalization, that loud vocalization. And when we talk about the diet, you can see those are feeding heavily on fruits. right? So, and another thing we already discussed about the nutrient cycle. So here we have discussed the nutrient cycle because of the favorable climate factors. These tropical rainforests having vital role in nitrogen, oxygen, carbon cycle. So when we talk about the nitrogen or nutrient cycles, so most of the nutrients are within the plants. So remember, the most of the nutrients are within the plants. So it's not in the soil. And here we already know if it is the ecosystem, the food chain, definitely it will have decomposers. So if we talk about the decomposers of the rainforest, so decomposers on the rainforest floor break down the dead organisms and return the nutrients to the soil. So the decomposer takes place to supply the nutrients to the soil. And because of the nutrient availability in soil, plants can quickly absorb the nutrients. Right? So these are the layers of the rainforest. We can see clearly we can observe the layers because of the different strata. So we can say this is stratification. Right? So you can clearly observe, and for stratification here: understory, lower canopy, upper canopy, emergent trees. Right? So next we will move into next biome is tundra. Right? How was the tropical rainforest tour? Right? So next one is tundra. So tundra is a type of biome where the tree growth is hindered by the low temperature and short growing season. What does mean by hindered? That means that because of the low temperature, that growth of trees is suppressed. So you can observe low amount of tree, or otherwise you can't observe the trees in tundra area. Right? So when we talk about the location, so regions south of the Arctic and extending across North America, Europe, and Siberia. Right. So when we talk about the temperature here the temperature is very low, that is in -28 degrees Celsius. Because of this, that growth of trees is suppressed. Right. Remember, in tundra you can't see the trees. So if there is any exception, you can see, but because of this particular temperature, the growth of trees is suppressed. Right, and tundra tends to be windy, with winds often blowing upwards about 50 to 100 kilometers per hour. And when we talk about the precipitation, it's like desert, right? So it's because only about 15 to 25 centimeter falling year. See here, this is the tundra biome. You can observe in the image, and see here, it is a very cold and dry place. So we already discussed, when it's cold and dry, you can't observe the plants or trees because of the temperature and precipitation. The plant growth is suppressed. See here, it is located near the North Pole. So this is the location. And there are no trees because of the soil is very poor in nutrient content. Right? See here, this is the animals and fauna present here, rainforest. Right? See, this is the Arctic fox, and you can see here, when we talk about in the tropical rainforest, we told that animals possess to be bright in color, isn't it? See, in the tundra, it's all animals look like in whitish color. See here, the Arctic fox, polar bears, and white wolves. See, all the animals possess to light colors. Right? These are the examples of fauna present in tundra. Right? So when we talk about the right, so we already discussed that we can't find the trees. So now you can see the lichens present here, lichens and mosses. So the characteristics of lichens and mosses are they can able to grow without soils. right? So these, remember this point also. We are going to discuss this second point, that mosses and lichens we can observe they can grow without soil, right? Okay, so we have finished two major biomes. What are those? Tell me, what are the biomes we have talked now?
Rainforest and tundra.
Okay, now we will move into taiga, right? So taiga is the world largest land biome. Remember, taiga is world largest land biome, right? So what's the specific character we told in the tropical rainforest? Here I'm telling taiga is the world largest land. When I talked about the tropical rainforest, what I told?
Greatest biodiversity.
Greatest biodiversity. So each and every biome have different specific characteristics, right? So next we can talk about the taiga, that it makes up 29% of the world forest cover, right? So because of this, we are telling the largest land biome is taiga, right? So if you talk about the temperature vary from 54 degrees Celsius, minus 54 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius, right? So taiga soil tend to be young and poor in nutrients, right? One second. Right. So if you want to talk about the plants present in taiga, so especially the conifer trees. So conifer is a tree that has seeds that develop in cones. So their leaves, arrow shapes, and waxy coating help them to retain water in the wind. So why it's possessed to that arrow shaped leaves and waxy coating? Because see the temperature here from minus 54 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius. So in winter time, it won't survive. So because of that, it possesses these arrow-shaped leaves and waxy coating. And the coniferous shades also help the trees shed snow to ground and not get weighed down. Right? And the conifer needle contains substances that make the soil acidic, and when they fall to the ground, preventing plants from growing on the floor. Right? So as we can say also the soil forms slowly in the taiga because of the climate and acidity, slow decomposition. Right? So what's the thing we can say from the last sentence? Anybody? Last point. The thing is, the coniferous needles, that mean that leaf needles. So coniferous needles contain the substance when it's falling down on the floor. It creates soil acidity for the layer. So when the acidity is high, what will happen? Plant growth will be suppressed. Plant growth will be low. So on that time, the soil formation and the decomposition will be slow because of the climate and the acidity. Clear? Any doubts? Any doubts? Response, please. Am I audible to you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we will move into the flora and fauna of this. So the forest of when we talk about the flora, the forest of the taiga are largely coniferous and dominated by large spruce, fir, and pines, right? And fauna, it includes 85 species of mammals, 130 species of fish, and as an estimated 32,000 species of insects we can find in this taiga area. And more than 300 species of birds have their nesting grounds in the taiga. See here, this is fir and this is spruce. Right? This is the taiga in winter season. Right? Just imagine you are there in the taiga area now. Right? So far we have discussed 3 major biomes: tropical rainforest, second
Tundra,
taiga. Right. So if I'm asking you describe a taiga, what are things you are going to discuss?
needle-like leaves.
Okay, needle-like leaves. That first from the we will have sequence, right? First you have to say first you have to say what is taiga and what's the special characteristics of taiga. You can say large biome, isn't it? Then we can say the location. Then you can say the temperature, precipitation. Then you can say the flora, fauna, and some other the key points we have discussed about the soil acidity and the slow decomposition. Those things. That's enough for the taiga explanation, right? Any questions on these 3?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, next one, temperate coniferous forest, right? So this one, temperate coniferous forest is the terrestrial biome found in temperate region of the world with warm summers and cool winters and adequate rainfall to sustain a forest. Because to sustain a forest, it has adequate rainfall. So when we talk about the location, the Pacific temperate rainforest of the Pacific Northwest and the Valdivian temperate rainforest of southwestern South America. So this is the Pacific temperate rainforest in Pacific Northwest. The Valdivian temperate rainforest in southwestern South America. And the rainforest of New Zealand and Tasmania and northwest Europe and southern Japan and eastern Black Sea, Caspian Sea region of Turkey and Georgia to northern Iran. Right, so these are categorized as a temperate coniferous. These forests are categorized as a temperate coniferous forest as a locations. Right, so flora and fauna. Many species of tree inhabit these forests, including cedar. You know cedar? Cedar. Have you heard cedar when you studying the microscopic technique? Yeah, cedar wood oil. Yeah. So the cedar wood oil is extracting from there. So cedar, cypress, Douglas fir, and Douglas fir and unifer and kauri, pine, podocarps, spruce. So spruce here also you can found spruce and redwood, yew. So these are the specific flora you can found. So flora means plants, right? So the understory also contain a wide variety of herbaceous and shrub species. So what is the understory? It's like shrubs. You can observe the short high plants in the understory. Right? So the fauna, the wildlife here include rich fur-bearing animals. That means fur means fur. Any idea on fur? If you are not responding, then I can record the presentation and I can send, no? Isn't it? Without response.
It showed chubby tree
Smooth. It's like a hair, right? It's a hair modification. It may be, we can say, it's a fine or short. It's a soft hair with a dense criteria. Means in a soft and dense hair, it's called as fur. So it's in rich fur. See this sable. See this animal. See how it has the rich fur, right? So rich fur bearing animals such as mink, silver fox, lions, sable, and beaver, right? So these are the fauna you can find. See here, this is the temperate coniferous forest. See how look nice. Right here also you can find pine and spruce trees. Right. Next one is deciduous forest. So deciduous forest can be found in the eastern half of the North America and middle of Europe. So middle Europe also we can find the deciduous forest because that the particular temperature precipitation is located in that particular area. So what are things we are talking? Temperature, precipitation, and that latitude and altitude. When these three is come as a combination in the world, so it's categorized into particular biomes. So these biomes are we can find in the North America and Middle Europe also, right? So there are many deciduous forests in Asia as well. So some of the major area that they are in the southwest Russia, Japan, and eastern China, we can observe the deciduous forest. So South America has two big areas of deciduous forest in southern Chile and middle east coast of the Paraguay, right? So there are deciduous forests located in New Zealand as well. So New Zealand and southeastern Australia also. So when we talk about the temperatures, the minus 30 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius. So minus 30 to 30 degrees Celsius. So yearly the average can be 10 degrees Celsius. So it can observe hot summers and cold winters. We can observe in the deciduous forest. And as the precipitation, 750 to 1,500 millimeter of rain per year. Now recall the precipitation of tropical rainforest. Tropical rainforest. Tell me.
8,000 millimeter per year.
Yeah, 2,000 to 10,000. Yeah. Right. So flora, broadleaf trees. Broadleaf trees, oak, maples, beeches, so shrubs, perennial herbs, and mosses we can find as flora. And fauna, a wide varieties of mammals, birds, insects, and reptiles can be found in the deciduous forest biomes, right? So mammals that are commonly found in the deciduous forest include bears, raccoons, squirrels, skeletons, and wood mice. So these are in US we can find. So deer can be found in this forest as well. So these are the fauna's categorization we can found in this deciduous forest, right? While bobcats, mountain lions, timber wolves, and coyotes are natural residents of these forests, they have nearly been eliminated by humans because of their threat to human life. See, these bobcats, mountain lions, timber wolves, those are natural residents of this particular deciduous forest, but because of the anthropogenic activities, they are eliminated from the deciduous forest. So other animals that were native to this biome, such as elk, bisons, have been hunted to near existence, right? See, this is the deciduous forest images. Right. Next, we will discuss about the grasslands. So, grasslands are located in temperate grasslands are located north to the Tropic of Cancer and south of the Tropic Capricorn. So, in this 23.5 degree north to 23.5 degree south. Right. So, the major temperate grasslands include the Wells of Africa and the pampas of South America and steppes of Eurasia and the plains of North America. So we will see what is pampas, steppes and plains, right? So flora, so grasses are the dominant vegetations here because this grassland, the name defines grassland. So trees and large shrubs are largely absent. Maybe you can observe one or two trees in a particular area, but it's largely absent. Fauna, so temperate grasslands have a low diversity of wildlife but high abundance of wildlife. What's that? Low diversity, high abundance. What's that? See? Can you explain anybody? Low diversity, high abundance.
Within the large area, short amount of animals.
Large area, short amount of?
Short quantity of animals.
Short quantity, no. The abundance means quantity. Right, quantity or number. Right, so the abundance means numbers, high number, right? But low diversity means the species. Low species you can observe. In the tropical rainforest, the species diversity is high. In the temperate grassland, the species diversity is low. That means diversity is low, but number is high. Right? If it is, yeah, 1% response, there are less number of different species in a large quantity. Yeah, good. Right? Who's that? Satindri. Yeah, you are right. Right? So, see here, for example, the meadowlarks, this bird, right? So, it can present in large number, that means high abundance of this species. But when we compare with other species, the species diversity is low. Understood? Okay. In North America, the dominant grazing animals are bison and pronghorns, and we can say rodents include hockets, gophers, and prairie dogs. Here, prairie dogs we can observe. So carnivores include wolves, coyotes, swift foxes, and badgers, and black-footed ferrets, and birds includes grouses, meadowlarks, quails, sparrows, hawks, owls. Right, so these are the birds you can observe. Right, so you can see the temperate grassland. So it's look like this is the example of temperate grassland. See here. So you can't observe the trees here. So they are located in a colder region than Savanna. See, they are located in a colder region than Savanna. So we are comparing with some other biomes, that minor biome is Savanna. So this grasslands are colder than Savanna. Right? We can find them in prairies, see, prairies, steppes, and pampa. Right? So that means these are grassland categorized according to the plants and some other factors. So prairies grasses are taller than steppes. Right? Prairies grasses are taller than steppes. Right? So see here, these are prairies. These are steppes. See here, you can observe some taller grasses here. See here, shorter grasses in steppes. See, pampa in Argentina, right? See, there is no any that high grasses or taller grasses. That means pampa is a flattened flow like grassland, right? So there are few trees because of this soil is very poor. See, these are bisons. So we already discussed the bisons, the fauna. These are the prairie dogs. So here, when we see local dogs, in the prairies, you can see prairie dogs. See, these are prairie dogs. Wolves. See the difference between the wolves present in this grassland and the wolves present in tundra. What's the difference? Color, because they are white in color. Here you can observe the blackish to brownish colors. See, this is coyotes. See, different wolves and coyotes. Imagine you are there, right? Now you are. Where are you now? Where are you now?
In Grassland.
In grassland. Which grassland? Okay, right? So now we will shift to savanna, right? So savanna is characterized by the trees being sufficiently widely spaced. So we can say that canopy does not close, right? So if we want to tell about the location, the divergence has some it's not clear. Tell me. Okay, then I will give another assignment for you. Right? Okay, at the end I will say. So this is Cerrado in Brazil. See, elephants. So it's I took this image from. It's containing all the animals present in savanna. See, we can elephant, lion, zebras, graphies, and gazelles. So some other animals present: lions, sea tigers. Okay, there are a few trees and lots of grasses. See, trees and lots of grasses. The density of grasses. Why not the dense grass here? See, dense grass. Why? What's the reason? Reason, dense vegetation. Because the characteristic vegetation is here grasses, not trees. Understood? You can observe you can observe trees, but few trees, because the savanna is characterized by grassland. It has grasses, so the vegetation of savanna is grasses, right? With few trees. So tell me the grass. See the grass density here. Is the grass density, why the grass density is high? That means vegetation density is high. We already discussed in fifth or sixth slide.
Due to the factors, altitude,
Yeah,
latitude.
Yeah, altitude and latitude, and then one more factor.
Climatic factors.
Yeah, that high temperature and high precipitation that will lead or high temperature and that climate will lead hot climate will lead to dense vegetation. We already discussed. Let's see this the savannas and finally we want to discuss about the desert biome. Right. So how you are going to pronunciate this? Anybody? Then DESSERT. Desert. That should be pronunciated from desert, right? So don't tell that one desert. That is desert. This one is desert, right? Okay. So deserts cover about 1/5 of Earth's surface and occurs where rainfall is less than 50 centimeter per year. That means 500 millimeter. That is not 500 millimeter. That means less than 500 millimeter per year. And although most deserts, such as the Sahara of North Africa and the deserts of southwestern of US, Mexico, and Australia, it occurs at low altitudes, low temperature high, the diversity vegetative diversity is low, right? So cactus, shrubs, cardon, Hamilton trees, prickly pears, and saboro. These are the floras we can found, and fernacea, snakes, lizards, tinko, tarantulas, and coyotes. So these animals we can find in desert because these animals have some characteristic to adapt in particular temperature in this desert biome because the animals present in here, flora present in here, fauna present in here, that means they are adapted to live in this habitat. Right? So these are the desert biome. Right? Finally, the chaparral biome. So the chaparral is the type of temperate woodland biome with vegetation that includes broad leaf-fed evergreen shrubs and is located in areas with hot, dry summers and mild, wet winters. Right? So chaparrals are located in the middle latitudes about 30-degree north and south of the equator. So chaparrals are located primarily in coastal areas that have Mediterranean climate. Um, Area you can see here. So now we have discussed about the biomes, major biomes and minor biomes present in the world. So how was the trip? Is it nice? How was the trip?
Yes, ma'am, nice.
So I reviewed some other photographs because of the time limit. So if we complete so far, I have completed 3 lectures. No, after the last Friday, earlier one Friday, and this Friday, isn't it? So 3 more lectures I have to take for you. In that class, we are going to discuss about the ecological succession, how the ecology form, how the plants and animals created, and then we want to talk about the biological indicators, ecological indicators, and we want to discuss about the pollutions. Right? If we discuss those 3, we can complete the environmental theory session. right? So if you can any extra time, we can discuss more furthermore. See here, I want to show you some other photographs and things, but because of time limit, I want to complete this one in 1 hour. We finished our world tour within 1 hour with this major biomes, right? So question for you as assignment, you have to first question is you have to talk about the biomes present in Sri Lanka. Briefly explain or briefly describe biomes present in Sri Lanka. That means tropical rainforest. Then, so do we have Tundra taiga? Do we have Tundra taiga? No. So what are the things you can explain? You can talk about the grasslands. Yeah, grasslands, savanna, and you can talk about the tropical rainforest. Right. So those things you can explain. So with the examples, you don't need to talk more and more. Just give the examples and locations. Right, and special animals of flora and fauna found here, specifically for Sri Lanka. So first question is briefly describe the biomes present in Sri Lanka. Second question is so here we just talk about the characteristics and the organism present in the biome. So what about the threats? Other biomes are occurring same as earlier the diversity and population and the abundance is vary when compared nowadays. What's the reason? For example, rainforest. For example, we will take the Singaraja forest, right? So Singaraja forest, it's more diversified area, a more diversified forest in Sri Lanka, isn't it? But it's different when we go now than earlier. What happened? What's the threat? What's the threat to that Singaraja forest happened? Just imagine. Any answers? What's the reasons? Maybe environmental factors. We can say climatic changes. Climate changes, isn't it? And some other anthropogenic.
Global warming.
Yeah, global warming. Good, good. So we can say two sides. One is environmental factors, so environmental changes or climate changes. Other one is human threat. That means anthropogenic activity. Because of human needs, we are destroying the forest. We are altering that natural ecosystem. So two kinds of threats are there. So you have to talk the threats to the biomes. Right. So under the threats, you can say what are the threats to the tundra, what are the threats to the taiga, what are the threats to the savanna, what are the threats to the desert biome, tropical rainforest. Right. So you don't need to talk about more than 3 points. It's enough. 3 points is enough for each biome. Understood the question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Two questions for you as assignment. Okay, thank you for the participation in today's lectures. I will wind up today's lectures. It's 9 now. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you, ma'am.